Pioneers. Today we have a very special guest. He is a traumatic brain injury survivor and he is a student here at Indian River State College. So, here today to share his story with us is Justin Rhodes. Can you tell us a little bit about what you were up to in life leading up to the accident?
Prior to the accident, I was living life like everyone else. I worked at the prison in Okeechobee. I worked there for about 8.5 years, and really good job. And I met a lot of great people, a lot of good lifelong friends that I work with, of course. But one day I looked around and said, this is a really good job, a really good place, but I feel like I can do more. And I want to explore that potential. So I did my 2-week notice and kind of had a plan before I went. I was going to go with the apprenticeship for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. And I did that schooling for about 4 months and didn't really get picked up by contractors, so I was dating a girl up that lived in Polk County, and I just was up there one day on the bike, and I said, I wonder if Lakeland Harley is hiring. They're like 15 minutes away from her house, so I went there, and long story short, I got hired on the spot. That was it. I was there for just under 4 months, and having never sold anything before, cars or anything, I liked it. I mean, the big thing about it is a social networking, and if you can't tell already, I love to talk. At that point in time, I talked more with more clarity. But I mean, I had fun. I was doing great in sales, and just I really enjoyed it. Then the unthinkable occurred. I don't even remember how it happened, of course. Like, I just know I woke up one day and I was in the hospital and looked around and I was like really weak. I couldn't move the whole right side of, well, that I knew of right there, like my arm and leg. On the right side, I couldn't do anything. I could barely do anything with the left. And that long story short, come to find out, I was in Atlanta in a wonderful place called the Shepherd Center, where they're a rehabilitation hospital and they're amazing. I ended up spending 2 months there, inpatient. I graduated to outpatient therapy in Decatur, Georgia. That was at Shepherd Pathways, and that was the beginning of my experience for being a patient with rehab. Like, that was my first look at all of anything therapy related, and I'll stop there and let you ask her away.
Well, that, kind of led into my second question, which was, what are some of the things you became aware of after you regained consciousness? Because, I mean, losing that frame of time, I'm sure there were, family members doing certain things and everyone like coming together.
It was pretty intense. I mean, now for me, I slept like you wouldn't believe. I slept. I was between being comatose and vegetative, and then my medical team at the hospital, Central Florida, told my family that they didn't know if I'd ever regain consciousness again, and even if I did, I would be vegetative. My family may want to look into like nursing homes, something like to help them out, because
Wow.
I have a long road coming, and all of a sudden I woke up, but that was a month after the wreck. I was comatose and vegetative in a coma for about 2 weeks, and then vegetative for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then just one day I opened my eyes and I was like, I couldn't say like where am I, but I was thinking where was I. I was at a loss of words. I had no clue how to make a noise or even to make the initial thought, like, why can't I make a noise? Like, I was just going with the flow, and the flow wasn't going much of anywhere.
Can't imagine like how frustrating that is to, be that level of confused and not be able to even ask. That's horrible.
As it became more clear, like where I was and what was happening and what had happened and how Okeechobee, my home, like I grew up there, like, so many people came together and that I heard of, and there were pictures and everything, but just the benefits and the outpouring of love. Like Okeechobee, it's a small town, but it's big community wise and things like that. Like they come together, and epic is the word I use for the epic.
Wow, so that's pretty amazing. So, what was one of the hardest parts of recovery and how did you overcome it?
The hardest part of recovery seemed to be every day going from being confined to a hospital bed to my therapist said, okay, we're going to work on getting you into a wheelchair. So a task, and then got to where I could be vertical and maintain a good blood pressure the whole time and not spike or anything, able to sit in the wheelchair. And I said, I had no feeling of my legs or anything, but like I said earlier, no initial thoughts. I thought like, I'm just like, why can't I walk or anything? And it cleared to me, and I said, well, again, will I ever walk again? Still have my long term memory like all throughout my life. But like term memory, my short term memory is what really did this most well. But I mean, to the wheelchair, then I got and then that the therapist was like, okay, we're gonna practice getting you to stand in the parallel bars, and I'm like, and they had me standing and couldn't even like make my brain fire like to my leg muscles to move my legs or anything. And then one day it started to come back, and I'm like, OMG, like what is happening? But bed to the wheelchair, then to walker, then a 4-point cane or quad cane, then a single point cane to Dean Chevy Silverado. It's like, I mean, a trip, but my God. Simply put, my God, that's awesome. I'll just leave it there. It was a challenge, but I overcame those. It was hard. I found out I later learned like it was hard, but I stayed determined enough to get through to each level, and just it showed me a lot. All this showed me a lot.
That's really that's really powerful just even hearing the story about how you didn't know you could stand and now you're doing what on a treadmill? You're outpacing me.
It's blowing me away too. Like so far, like as of a week ago, I'm able to top out at miles per hour in the in a sprint, and I can do a steady jog. It's for 30 seconds, but like the steady jog of like minutes and up, I can maintain a 4.5 mile per hour pace, and that so never done that. So
That's amazing.
it blows me both one on the same page.
It's in physical therapy. I know you mentioned that you had a good experience in physical therapy, so that's what you're pursuing now. Is that what I heard?
Amazing. Again, nothing to put up against, but like the only experience at that point was in therapy. Like I spent I spent up in Atlanta 2 months inpatient at the Shepherd Center, then 2 months outpatient Shepherd Pathways in Decatur, Georgia, and all of my therapy teams like that all of these things that I wasn't able to do, to be able to do them again, to go back to my ADLs or activities of daily living, like these pinnacle achievements for that 4 months, and people contributed to that, and we're grateful to what they did, and experience I had there, and then when I returned to Okeechobee, I continued outpatient therapy. Okeechobee, Rollerson outpatient therapy. Then I went to another New American Physical Therapy, just everywhere. And just so I've had plenty of time to think. I am still proud to say that all of these people do what they do, and they played this sort of a part of my life. And when just before I graduated occupational therapy, my last discipline, I found in 2018, said to me, "What would you like to return to?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She said, "Like for work or anything." And I said, and I've heard people saying that, but do you think I'll really be able to go back to work? And she's like, "Yeah, of course." Then my thinking further, and I don't know, decided I don't know what I want to do, but something to do with rehab, because to take these gifts that have been given to me and give them to someone else, there is no money. The feeling that someone gets when that they want independence, that they once had to be able to go and do as they please when they're able to go and do as they please. Like, no amount of money, nothing material, nothing. That ability, that independence, amazing to be able to be a member of a team such as what I've had over me, and get looking at but better do my research, and for short to do something. I wanted to do something rehab related. 2018, May of 2018, I went back to school. Now, for 15 years since I graduated high school in 2004. I skated by like bare minimum, like, oh gosh, college. My priorities were backward. I was like, well, I have to work today, so I'll work now and I'll do my homework later. Well, I have my priorities backwards. Had I thought correctly, why am I going to school? So I can better my education, better my chances of setting better in a place of employment where I can employment way of living, yield the better. I fell into that super awesome job at the prison, and I was good. I was good. I was sitting in a career and did good, but 8 years and more from life after that, more from life came to me after laying at that point, waiting to die, was apparent to me, just as consciousness was not apparent to me, but that was the more. And it's a shame that I had to do a similar experience, like to realize things, but that along with maturity, now I realize I know what I want to do, and I can better prioritize things. I can organize my schedule. I can prioritize my schedule. I can prioritize today nothing but homework. Today maybe, and then maybe I can go have fun. At the May of 2018, I went back to school, and at that point, looking at my guided pathway through IRSC, amazing. I had a couple, like, man, this could be quite a bit to get my prereq for program. May, I started school. September, I got a job at a nursing home in St. Lucie County. I've learned so much there, and that enabled me to learn that I love all disciplines of therapy. It just made sense. I mean, the strengthening and being able to become mobile again, to get to somewhere to do something, then occupational therapy comes into play. But at the same time, IRSC has a PTA program, so hello.
Hello. Yeah. Wow. So, what are some of the things you did to stay on track academically? Because those are really hard classes. You have biology, chemistry, physics, right? Like the hard hitting stuff.
Chemistry, but I mean the classes come up later. One, two, to put it bluntly, I have a lot of my cognitive functions and abilities and whatnot were not wiped out, but they were wiped pretty clean, like start from the clean slate. So now I'm back in school where I have to apply what I've learned so I can and continue to learn to grasp a concept, but I was able to stay on the task, and I learned I learned the concept of growth mindset, and I mean that right there. Once coming to that realization, to where becoming aware of that concept, now I feel concept. Now I feel I don't want to stop. Yes, I'm gonna have hard time, but a lot of what's helped me to stay on task and persistent is to use like event reminders and stuff on my phone, like calendars on my phone and physically. For a long time, I thought, I'm having trouble remembering these things because I have a brain injury, but I've had this brain injury since I was a youngster. So a lack of ethic I had before, which now it's it's getting right up to par now. Like I can do it, and I will. I will.
Yeah. So you're right on time. Like outdo who you were before. That's pretty incredible. So, did you participate in any activities or events outside of the classroom? Did you take up any of those opportunities at IRSC?
I have to an extent. Like I've stayed on track with my studies and work and whatnot, but I've not. I've tried my best not to let any like when I did next during American Sign Language 1 and 2. Of course, I attended every class and whatnot, but there were also that ASL empathy occurred, like Treasure Coast Square Mall. The instructors paint studio that she had over in St. Louis. It was called and I mean, I never painted crafts or anything before, the whole thing between that and the mall was to apply these principles that I learned in class, fellow students and former students and other people. I learned so much about deaf culture. It's a lot more than sign language, but like the etiquette involved. I involved myself with participating in those events that went on with that. But Rivers State College has, and the mall was State College has a lot of opportunities to network. And just because I didn't do it all, I'm not going to deny the fact that it's all there, and it's amazing how they make all this accessible to all students that have every walk. They're really on point for us. No, I'm not just saying that to be nice. That's the truth. I don't want that was an amazing experience. It really was to participate in something that I believe only 6 students from the entire state of Florida got nominated for. a lot were nominated but selected to participate as a student panelist for this conference. All six students are stories of share stories of like perseverance by some with some miraculous event speed on to bigger and better things, and it's never would have been selected to participate in. But again, I never was that student that aspired for greatness or anything back in '04 and everything previous to that. I just was your average student who's gated maturity along with maturity. I take pride in being turning into nay or swallowing my pride and taking that B for what it is. That's why I was nominated. Come to find out for that conference, because my first day of class, I was straight up with my favorite professor. She down. I can do a lot more than she's helped us with me to realize that the whole because like my first day of class, I didn't know my head from a hole in the ground, but I stayed with it. I lived and breathed algebra. Every chance to have a tutor or anything, like I took advantage between ASC lab between student tutor, between tutoring sessions offered by my professor just inspired her. Like for me, it's persistence and my determination inspired her to nominate me for that. Really cool being selected for it, and she was excited too, and got to do that. Go to Gainesville. Really cool. I got to meet Dr. Massey when I got back from there. That was so cool. Like, and I talk a lot, but our conversation, I can honestly say that I think he trumped my talking, but it's awesome because he had so much fascinating insights on just like school ethic and just like determination. Like and again, I'm not just saying that because whatever.
He actually does a speech about growth mindset at the leadership conference every year, so he's a really great guy. I'm gonna miss him when he leaves, but I know we'll get someone else that'll be a great president in there too. But yeah, he's a legend. Okay, so the last couple questions here. Where do you see yourself?
When I graduate, I see myself being able to practice being a PTA, of course, but I see myself still having found out that I was able to go back to college 15 years later, being planted where I was for so long, to be able to go back and learn that I can go back to school and I can already set on it won't be the end. Like the AS degree for physical therapy will not stop there. I'm going to continue for my bachelor, and I'm almost positive it's going to be toward either healthcare administration or business administration, because I have a plan, goals. But goals, something that I've learned about, like, but now realize after going through therapy, goals, both through short term and long term, are really so my short term goals have been completing the particular grids, which I found that I could do either being able to satisfy them or going beyond that, which I shoot for the stars. I don't always get the stars, so I have to come to, but okay, I want to keep going. I don't want to take a break, take time off for school or something. I want to keep going. I don't want to fall back onto that bandwagon or just hey, I ain't gonna bother with school again. I'm not gonna let they even take a chance. I'm not gonna rest there. I want to keep going.
So, do you have any advice for students still at IRSC?
Best advice I can think of right offhand would be don't put it off, don't be, reactive, be proactive. Do these things because what's the worst that could happen? You're gonna not make the mark, do whatever it will. One of those, however you want to term that, is failure is another opportunity to learn. It's just come back to mind so much, and there's so much truth value to it. Like, it's incredible. I can screw up, not do good. I can not do good. But that's okay because now I know what to expect. Excel to the point of, and I can just check it off my bucket list. What's next?
I'm reading a book. It's called The Obstacle is the Way, and that's like the whole theme of the book is just how much you can learn from being the person that actually does, overcome obstacles.
Coward or nothing but say, I mean, like a human nature, we fear the unknown.
Yeah.
So it's just easier to say, oh no, not for me. Like, and move on. What if next thing? Well, what if you nail this? What if you do? You nut it out, then you're and you can just keep doing that and get higher and higher. The quality of life that comes from being proactive, that's another one of those things that money.
Well, I think your story is absolutely incredible, but I think the most incredible part of it is what you've chosen to do with it and how you've completely turned things around and found this like deeper purpose and just how full steam ahead you're going with your physical therapy and with school and everything. And now you're talking about the bachelor's in either business admin or health admin. That's amazing to me. And I think that's the more miraculous part of your journey is what you've chosen to do with it.
Thank you. Thank you. At the close toward the end of April, they posted greater than the beginning of May. I was able to apply to the PTA program, and the closing for accepting applications was the 10th, I believe, May 10th. Well, like a week after that, you were not chosen. However, you were selected to be an alternate. Now I'm still in the game. I'm not out, but I'm still in the game. And regardless, however many times I have to apply out, I'll apply. But if there's anyone who is thinking about, like, they don't want to do the PTA program, like, I want to go be something else, like, go for it. Do that, and I'll be happy to slide right into the spotlight.
I endorse that PSA. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Justin, for sharing your story with us.
Thank, thank you, Heather. Thank you, Heather. I really appreciate that.